Talk.
What's up, what's up? I'm Kev Lawrence, your host of Just Talk, and I'm in the building with some special people today. My special guest co-host.
DaGod, Divine, still turning water to wine, man. Just talk, that's what we do.
Next to me, a beautiful special guest co-host, and you are?
Gabriella Nicole.
And I have another guest in the building that's going to talk to you about who he is. And
that's the man.
Hello world, I'm Jasonswanston of Ovnio. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. We're here to Just Talk, and who is Jason Swanston?
Well, to start off, Jason Swanston basically is I'm just a kid from Harlem.
Okay, shout out to Harlem.
And shout out to Harlem.
Harlem world.
That grew up in the inner city with a vision on being different.
Okay.
And by way of being different, I literally was into biology and archaeology and
cool.
literally technology.
Okay.
So my family, they literally just put me into various different programs outside of, you know, the inner city that would basically nurture the creative side of me as well as the mathematical side of me. And that's when I entered NYU's Science and Technology entry program. Which were, at that time, they said it was for smart people, but I don't think I'm that smart. You know, I'm still working on it. And basically, it was a program to nurture kids who had a specific IQ that were really into technology at 13. And so the question is, who am I? I'm basically a Renaissance man now. You know, I like to develop various different platforms. I love media. I love entertainment, and living in that particular community, i.e., what you know everyone calls the inner city, has allowed me to nurture those various different creatives. Because people of color, us as a group of people, you know, as well as people that live in the inner city, are very creative because we have to be. We don't have you know, we don't have that many resources. You know. That especially growing up in the you know, in the 90s, you know, we didn't have those many resources. So my family always encouraged me a way of seeking outside of my boundaries, saying, you know what, if you really like something and you like video games, Jay, you want to draw, then you know what, go down to Barnes and Nobles and study. You know, go to the library. That's before Google, guys. You know, there was libraries. You know, and so they instilled that in me, and literally study. Like my dad, you know, big shout out to my dad.
Big shout
out to my dad. You know, I did have my father in my life. You know, even though he was, you know, he was running around everywhere and everybody loved him. But you know what? He gave me my time that I needed. You know, and he physically, you know, kept impressing upon the fact that I needed to be, you know, in the educational environments. You know, if I like something, he said, Jay, whatever it is you like, study everything to the letter. You know, if it's not nailed to the floor, you study it because you got to be better than anyone out there.
That's right.
Whether it's drawing, whether it's writing a video game platform, you know, and so that's what really became substantial in my mind on what I needed to become as a young man, especially a young black man in today's society. And that's what Jason Swanston really is a Renaissance man. Thanks, Dad.
Of course, Mom. Dad and Mom. You know, that's right.
The whole family unit.
So I have a new project coming out that you're working on right now, and it's called Ovnio.
Yes. So So Ovnio basically is.
What is Ovnio?
Yes.
Right.
So and I can go in the technical, but I'll leave it in layman's. You know. I had an idea, you know, about a couple of years ago. My friends, kind of like you guys that are in the media industry, wanted to physically get their television shows as well as their feature films, the independent films, to Hollywood. And you know, a couple of guys came to me and said, Jay, you know what? Can you get my stuff? Because I was already in the business. I was already in Hollywood at that time. They said, you know what, can you get my stuff, you know, distributed, you know, or a distribution deal with one of, you know, the major Hollywood studios? I said, yeah, you know, I can, but, you know, at the end of the day, you know, my space is really big. You know, there's no, you know, online video platforms that can literally, you know, track who's watching your stuff. And that's what these studios need. They need to know that people literally want to see your stuff in order to even give you a deal. You know, it's not like a record deal or a video game deal, you know. There's a distribution deal for your films, kind of like what Master P did, you know. So I said, okay, you know what? Let me go to the drawing board. Let me go to what I really know and what I really love, you know, and that's creating software.
Okay.
And so that's where the whole Ovnio idea really started to develop, where I was saying to myself, you know what? If I can take my friends' movies and stream it on various different channels on a platform that mimics the cable experience, coupled with the idea of streaming it to people in remote areas around the planet, okay, then you know what? I can track that, and then I can share that demographic. I mean that information. Excuse me. I can share that information with my friends who are now the content providers to my network. And then they can take those analytics and show it to a Hollywood studio and say, you know what, not just 1 million views on YouTube we're seeing, you know, because back then it's really eyeballs, you know. I'm now tracking 100,000 physical eyeballs that are coming to my site, if you will, to see my friends, you know, feature films. And so that's what basically Ovnio is in a nutshell. And throughout, you know, we're talking about a couple of years of research and development, I said, you know what, through the whole wave of, you know, apps and people, you know, young people like the millennials, you know, those are kids that are ages, you know, 14 to 17, you know, doing 3 and 4 different things under one particular web window. I said, let me start infusing all of these front-end experiences, you know, which is what you see. So these front-end experiences of us doing what? Text messaging, you know, instant messaging, you know, Skyping. So I said, you know what? I know me as a kid from the hood, you know, I do 3 and 4 things at one time because, you know, I have no time. You know, and I'm trying to get it all, you know. But there's other kids outside in rural parts of America, in the suburbs, also share the same type of, you know, psychosis. And that's where the wave started to develop, where you have young kids, millennials, changing the way we engage, you know, online video platforms and video online through various different devices, mobile, tablet, as well as laptop and desktop. So I said, let me just basically infuse all these experiences. So now Ovnio started out as just a simple piece of software that streamed my friends' movies and tracked their eyeballs, to now a cable TV social network.
Wow, that's impressive.
Thank you. So it's a cable TV social network where I said to myself, okay, MySpace is really big, but wait a minute, here's Facebook now. Everybody's on Facebook because everybody wants to jump on something that's new. Let me infuse the whole social network experience with watching television, and give these various different channels life, where, as you know, me and my friends were looking at, you know, how YouTube just captivated everybody, and, you know, and over the last decade, you know, people search for specific genres of specific content on YouTube, all right, and that's how people online literally monetize video. You know, that's how they make money on video. That's fine. You know, off their videos, that's fine. But if I'm able to give them an experience that they're accustomed to seeing from when they can even understand what cable is, then I have generational followers. Generational followers. So then I said, you know what? Let me go tell my dad I created something. So I said, Dad, I created cable for the planet. So, you know, my dad is black, so my dad looks and goes, he does just like this. We was uptown, and he was like, oh my God. I said, Dad, I can stream cable channels to people around the planet for $25.
Wow. International.
I'm hyped about this.
And on top of that, I figured out how to minimize buffering. Oh, look at his face.
Wow,
That's important.
I need this.
Right. So the minimizing of the buffering issue was really, really key, because you have people in various different parts of the world that have, you know, low bandwidth. You know, like places like in India, which I lived. I lived in India, and as well as like places like South America, Peru, which is where I lived also. And so you have these particular areas, as well as places here in North America. So I said, let me create the software, which is technically, and all you tech heads out there, it's not a compression code, it's a configuration software, and that's where my intellectual property lies. You know. I was able to basically say, you know what, thanks. I was able to say, you know what, let me create an experience where, you know what, people can physically see the channels that they like, It's customizable, and then they can click and open up 4 and 5 different windows under one particular web window or walled garden, if you will, you know, through their browser. So then people are like, oh my God, and like my dad, oh my God, okay, Jay, well, what's next? Well, let's go out there and knock on the doors to a couple of content providers like ABC, CBS, NBC. You know, I met with all those guys, and all those guys love it. You know, of course, the cable companies, they might see me as a threat. I don't see myself as a threat to the cable market because Ovnio is not for
completely different.
Yeah, Ovnio is not for the U.S. It's for you know, the international demographic. So on Ovnio, you will find channels that cater to the African, you know, diaspora, you know, the Nollywood movies. You'll find the Bollywood feature films and television shows on Ovnio. And then you'll find, you know, what do the young kids call ratchet? You'll find some ratchet content.
That's right, ratchet.
But we laugh, but, you know.
But that's what they want.
That's what they want. And the conscious people who like docu-series, will basically get to see that. So when you subscribe to Ovnio, you know, you're able to socialize. Another good feature of Ovnio, and I'll just, you know, I'll end it with that because I know, and I could be very long-winded.
No, this is we need the information.
That's why we had you on, Jay. I'm glad you did. Please give us more.
So the main feature of Ovnio, which I really studied in terms of watching online video platforms like Hulu and Netflix and the big dogs that are out there, the 4,000-pound gorillas in the room. I basically said to myself, you know what? I can't do 3 and 4 things at one time with Netflix and Hulu, you know. But more importantly, if I really like something, if I'm watching Nicki Minaj, big shout out to Young Money.
What can you do with that?
If I really like Nicki Minaj album, you know, or if I like the, you know, Denzel Washington's coat in American Gangster, you know what? How can I buy that? Where can I get that from? So I said, so what I did was I went back and I wrote a code where you'll be able to physically click on any movie on Ovnio's channels and physically, you know, purchase the product directly from the movie, the music video.
Is that called interactive buying?
That's instant interactive purchasing, exactly. Buying, exactly.
Cool.
So, you know, the user literally will now have the ability. The user will literally, you know, have access to a plethora of products to physically purchase, you know, directly without ever leaving the walled garden, without ever leaving the web window. You know, and of course the last thing is that, you know, if you stream Ovnio, if you access Ovnio rather from your cell phone, I don't take up too much data storage, so I'm not an app.
I like that.
Me too.
I like that because you want to have your space. You know, you don't want something that's going to take up too much space, and it's easy to get to because I understand you can just go to it from Firefox or from Chrome.
Right. So if you have you know, access to Firefox or Chrome on your Mac or PC, you'll be able to access the Ovnio channels.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
So we're building out the Safari as you look at me right now talking, but you'll be able to access Ovnio through Safari, as well as other. Well, it's funny. The Internet Explorer version of Ovnio, the IE version of Ovnio, was the first version of Ovnio that I developed, which what Divine saw in the first stages.
Open Vision.
And that was the PC version, because from what I understood in my travels was that everybody, you know, around the planet, you know, has PCs. Opposite of Macs. But people in North America just feel that everybody has a Mac, everybody has an iPhone. No, that's not true. Those are very expensive products. But everyone has a PC. So I built Ovnio in the beginning from an IE version. But, you know, people like your Kanye West and your T.I.s and your J's and your Puffs and all those guys, big shout out to everybody. You know who you are. You know, they're in the music industry, and those are the people that I needed to impress. Those are the people that I needed to, you know, to say, hey, you know what, Ovnio works on your Mac when you're in the studio. So I went back to the drawing board and I built out the Firefox and the Chrome version of Ovnio. You know, and I canned the IE because. You know.
Am I to understand on Ovnio TV you can excuse me, I'm sorry, I got you working here. But on Ovnio TV you can watch it on your mobile, on your tablet, on your Mac, on your PC.
That's correct.
And with little to no buffering. And from what I was researching, no data usage either.
Right.
So on like most of your tabs or most of your data plans with your phone, when they talk about streaming, you have to pay that 1 gig or whatever. No data usage.
Right. No data usage. For instance, there's and you guys can test it out if you want once you subscribe to Ovnio. You know, when you're streaming a YouTube video, you know, it's funny because I just tested this. Well, I didn't. A couple of African content providers tested it a week ago because we're getting ready to launch Ovnio Africa, where we can provide cable to Ovnio, a cable, to certain African countries. Okay. You know, and they basically wanted to test because people in Africa don't have the money to upgrade in their data plans, right? So they're like, wow, you know, the Africans in Africa look at YouTube, but it takes up a lot of data. Right. So what they did was they tested Ovnio. They ran Ovnio for 5 minutes, one of the channels, and then they ran a YouTube video for 5 minutes. And YouTube took up about 110 megs, and Ovnio only took up 40. Wow. You know, so, you know, just things like that, you know, is a lot of milestones that, you know, I've basically accomplished with my team, obviously my dad, my whole family, in terms of, you know, asking questions, talking to people like yourselves, you know, figuring out what are your hiccups in terms of watching, you know, content online, you know, but I didn't want to be just a, you know, a SVOD. SVOD, guys, is like your Hulu's or your Netflix, which stands for Subscription Video on Demand platform. I wanted to be a cable type of experience, and that's what you have, you know, which is Ovnio, and that's the company, and I welcome as many content providers, you know, as possible. Now what YouTube did for the planet was it made more content providers, you know, literally be born. Well, now I want to make more executive producers physically have their own channels, like your Bob Johnsons.
From what I understand, can get through Ovnio.
So thank you very much, Divine. I mean, it's very cool. And, you know, when people create websites like YouTube, the guys over at YouTube didn't create YouTube to make money. They created YouTube because it was cool. They wanted to share, you know, video content, and they were acquired by Google for $1 billion because everybody and their grandmother was uploading, you know, pirated content.
Real talk.
And then Google came in and said, you know what, we're going to create some revenue models for this OVP, which is called YouTube. So, and I studied that, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to come out the gate, you know, and say, you know, let me just create this platform and not understand that I can make money from this. So, the revenue streams that are literally thought of when I'm thinking of, you know, creating a code, comes from a standpoint of how does you know, Divine, you know, literally take his movie or his TV show and put it on my platform and make money. Well, you know, it was very simple. What I started doing, I knocked on the doors of Cablevision. You know, big shout out to the Dolans. You know, you know, I studied how those guys basically created their contractual agreements for, you know, television networks like NBC. You know, and then I started studying NBC and said, well, what type of deals do they cut for, you know, television producers? And I said, okay, well, because they already, you know, they created the wheel. It's the same business model. The only difference is that I'm physically, you know, streaming this particular platform through another medium, which is the internet. You know, cable does through fiber optics, right? As well as, you know, well, only through fiber optics, like Verizon and Time Warner, and Cablevision, and Bright House, but the internet is just open game for everybody. So I said, wow, if I can do this, no problem. So the revenue streams, getting back to the revenue streams, is very simple. People physically can have their this television show on one of the Ovnio channels. Okay. And because we're just like, you know, Cablevision, we track the eyeballs. You guys physically take those analytics and you go to your, you know, your advertisers, and now you guys can safely say, I know how many eyeballs are literally watching my TV show domestically here in the U.S. as well as internationally. But more importantly, the revenue is, the real revenue big boom is as follows. The interactive component. where now people, like, you know, your advertisers that you guys have relationships with can say, you know what, when this show cuts to commercial on Ovnio, my commercial literally can be targeted to a specific demographic. How many Caucasians, African Americans, Asians living in a particular catchment area within the United States or overseas literally now can physically click on the buy button on Ovnio's remote control and physically buy that content, buy the DVD.
Yeah.
So now, how do you make money as a content producer of a TV show? Well, I just talked about two different revenue streams. One is charging the advertiser, because the eyeballs that Ovnio is attracting. Okay. And then two, getting a cut out of every piece of product that's sold through Ovnio's technology during your program, while you're streaming. Tasty. Like
everybody's in here like,
we want some stocks into this.
And I just wanted to really pinpoint one particular story, because you guys will all appreciate this. You know, I wasn't just into broadcast technology for the last 9 years building Ovnio. I've been in this since I was 17 years old. I got an internship, and I just want to give a shout out to my mentors, Hayes Stamper, you know, who found me in the #1 train, you know, when I was going to Columbia University. I was coming back uptown, and I was talking to my friend from Guatemala named Jared, and I was talking about trigonometry and just geometry and various different equations. And he basically, you know, he was facing me on the train, and he came and he gave me his business card. And his business card basically was, you know, his company called Advanced Multimedia Systems. And this is 1993, guys. And Advanced Multimedia Systems literally was a corporation that physically produced and distributed the workstations that created animation, like you see in Jurassic Park. Yeah. So their job literally was to build it and ship it to the Hollywood studios back in 1993. Wow. So he gave me an internship. And this is kind of the reason why I dropped out of college. But anyway, that's another story. But go to school, you know, if you don't have a plan, still go to school, right? So I went there, and I come upstairs, and all of these workstations were around, you know, and he sat me in front of a desk, and he at this particular time I already created a couple of video game platforms on my own, you know, but he looked at me and he said, you know what, here's your own workstation, you know, you can learn graphic designing, you can learn animation. And he gave me all these textbooks, and for like 6 months I was there listening. A big shout out to the West Coast, listening to Dr. Dre, The Chronic, eating Cheez-Its and drinking Coca-Cola. Because hip-hop has been a very big influence in my life with technology, so hip-hop and tech is definitely go hand in hand, just like hip-hop and fashion and hip-hop and film, you know. So I was there, you know, trying to figure out how to take a live person and superimpose an animated figure back in 1993.
Talk about it.
Right. And now they're doing it in the Super Bowl, but that's cool. I'm glad we've elevated. But the major crux of this particular story was that in May of 1993, guys, I basically was part of an experiment with Lucent Technologies and a couple of colleges, as well as Advanced Multimedia Systems, to basically stream the first movie over the internet.
Wow.
I'm gonna let y'all sit on that real quick. Internet was out in the late 70s, right? Exactly. But and so in 1993, I'm listening to Dr. Dre, The Chronic, and you know, I see all of these people that don't look like me, you know, all these geeks, you know, and I'm a kid from Harlem that knows a couple of, you know, video game platforms, you know, video game codes, excuse me, and languages, and next thing you know, I'm sitting in a room with all of these scientists that have a VCR hooked up to a workstation, a tower, and they put the movie in, and it started to stream a movie. And they had cameras hooked up, big cameras hooked up, where they would see on, you know, people in London that were part of the experiment, as well as the people over at Lucent Technologies.
So that was the first time. A movie streamed via the internet.
Right.
And he witnessed this.
Right.
He was
On
a part
record.
of that.
On record.
The only black man in the room.
Right.
This is crazy.
Right.
This is amazing.
It was 4 African Americans in the room. 2 women. They were doctors. My mentor and me. And I was the intern. I was the only person of color, young at that time, 17.
Right.
Wow.
You know, and I remember like it was yesterday. I was remembering like it was yesterday because the movie kept buffering. We called it back then. Buffering was called data dropping.
Data dropping.
Yeah. You know, it was called data dropping. In case you guys, you know. Buffering was called data dropping.
Right.
You know, and so that's right.
Escape and all
Netscape, right? Exactly.
Escape,
Navigator. And so, with that being said, you know, it was revolutionary. And now you have what? You have Netflix. Right. You have Hulu. You have so many advancements of streaming movies to people's cell phones and laptops and desktops that we've come a long way. But I just wanted to make you guys like listen to a story that really was part of my evolution of streaming media.
But building on what you said, the streaming, like it makes sense for even Avnio. I think we mentioned that. But in the future, do you see streaming content or streaming concerts viable or something big for Avnio?
Oh yes. Well, thank you very much for it.
Like I look at like streaming something like Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj concert in Japan or something that you can't make it, but
so the answer is yes. You know, Avnio right now can stream a live concert to people up to 20 million people at a clip.
Wow.
You know, I want to give a big shout out to all my CDN partners, and. I want to give a special shout out to the whole Michael Jackson, you know, community, as well as the Michael Jackson, you know, brand, because they were the first group, the Michael Jackson group, the whole This Is It family. They were the first ones to really give me a shot, you know. And in terms of even talking to me about streaming one of Michael's concerts before he died in 2009, you know, and you know, I'm excited. I'm excited to even say something like that. That they even saw my, you know, I created a whole 10-channel network for Michael Jackson where you can physically see, you know, the Jackson 5 channel and, you know, different channels just for Michael. Okay. Just like if you watch ABC, if you turn to ABC, that was all of Michael Jackson on our So it was 10 channels leading up to the This Is It concert. Wow. And that's what I proposed to Michael Jackson before he died. And so, you know, to answer your question, you know, back since 2009 to now, you know, us at Ovnio, you know, we were already on that whole plateau in terms of streaming content. You know, a lot of people overseas, they love, you know, our music. And when I mean to say our music, I'm talking about hip hop music. Yeah. You know, I'm from the old school hip hop, you know, when you know, it was hand-to-hand CDs and tapes, you know. So people overseas, they still love the nostalgia about old school hip hop, you know. And the Nicki Minaj's, the Lil Wayne's, you know, even the new, what are those guys called? Slow Bucks. You know, those guys, you know, and you know, the Godfathers and the grandfathers of hip hop, like Kool Herc and big shout out to Dougie Fresh, you know, I am from Uptown, so, you know, people still want it. People still want to see it. So with Ovnio, you'll be able to see a live stream concert, you know, and physically purchase the album in real time, you know, as well as any merchandise that the artist is wearing.
Wow.
From their phone, from your phone rather, laptop or desktop. And answer what you just said, no. What will happen is you'll basically see Nicki Minaj streaming live. You'll be able to click on the buy button on the remote control, and then an overlay will appear, kind of like Minority Report. They'll see through a window where you can still see her performing in the background, and then physically you can see the store display with all of her products.
Wow.
You know?
We can buy her CDs.
You can buy her CDs. You can buy all of her CDs.
Her perfume.
Her perfume.
So from an artist standpoint, that increases a whole nother platform for revenue.
That's right.
That's correct. So from an artist standpoint, people can basically make money. You know, I don't understand why, you know, Summer Jam doesn't, you know, allow artists to sell their products, you know, when they live stream, because Summer Jam live streamed last year.
That sounds like that's the biggest difference between a lot of.
But I understand
what you do, because you're giving an artist not only the platform, but also the platform to make money in another different way through your Ovnia, which even TV, NBC, BET, they don't give that opportunity to the artists. They play the video, and that's it.
That's right.
You're actually giving them the opportunity to sell their merchandise and actually speak on it. You know, if their money right up, they can perhaps get a channel on Ovnia.
That is correct. They'll get a channel, and we're not talking about YouTube, you know, video on demand type of experience. We're talking about an actual scheduled broadcast type of channel. You know, stuff that comes on at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time or PST, or a loop channel where they just play their videos one after the other. You know, so you know, I just basically wanted to, you know, say thank you very much for allowing me to express what Ovnia was about, and I want you to get a question in if you want to.
Yes. Oh, wow. This has been amazing. I'm just so happy to be here and to have this opportunity. Yes. But I wanted to tap into, because I did some research, and Jason has something else more impressive, is his educational background. Okay. So, you know, at 13, he was in a program, technology program
NYU.
At NYU. Okay. And then at the age of, let's say, 15, was it?
I entered Columbia.
He entered Columbia University.
Right.
I mean, I'm just so impressed by that. And then at 17, you went on and created your own video game. You want to tap into that about, you know, he had about several video games and...
So basically, because I was influenced by hip-hop and you know, I loved it, and I wanted to be the first video game, you know, platform that came out of the hood, you know, I basically just created like 7 platforms, and like my family always taught me, you know, if you study really hard, you know, you get what you want. I reached out to Sega, and we're talking about 1990.
Sega was amazing, right?
Yeah.
Everybody had a Sega.
I reached out to Sega, and I reached out to the video game corporations, Activision at the time. That's what they were called, Activision, as well as Sony Computer Entertainment of America. They were really big, so because they were coming out with PlayStation. Right. And I reached out to both of them, and they sent me, you know, NDAs, and they sent me, you know, just submission forms, and you know, the rest is history, because I love hip hop so much that I got influenced by hip hop. I kind of like suppressed that side of me, and then I just basically went into the music industry, because I wanted to really be part of, I guess, Dr. Dre and the whole Chronic album. It really influenced me. I wanted to be part of, you know, the music industry, teaching my people, you know, in hip hop, the various different advancements in technology, especially because when Napster came out, it really hurt the hip hop industry. So I wanted to help people within these music industries like MCA. Big shout out to all my mentors over there. Big shout out to you know, God bless the dead Heavy.
Shout out Napster too.
Heavy D.
Rest in peace to Heavy D, who gave me my shot at Universal Records, as well as, you know, Charles Dixon, who gave me my first job over at MCA, working doing a lot of strategy for Mary J. Blige's album. You know, I was just a guy in the background. You know, big shout out to guys over there at Bad Boy, as well as Death Row. I work for Death Row as well. So, you know, things like that, you know, I wanted to basically be that guy to help people understand. And where it brings it to today, you know, present day and time, you know, where everybody calls digital strategy now social media. Right. You know, I've used my ingenuity to help Young Money, Lil Wayne to be exact, do a lot of his strategy for Truck Fit.
Indeed.
Okay. You know, and I'm very proud of that, you know. So all the stuff you saw online with Truck Fit on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you know, it's because of me and the team, me and my team that put it. Yep. 200 million people was reached, you know, in 4 months. You know, I won't tell you how much money Lil Wayne made, but you know, we did our thing, you know, and we're happy.
Numbers don't lie.
But thank you very much, you know, for definitely, you know, allowing me to speak. I would love to come back and show you how audio works.
That's what
and I just want to leave, you know, this message, you know, and I'm gonna look directly in the camera. If you're watching, you know, you're looking at me, you know.
The man.
I'm one of many men, you know. I'm part of a long lineage of strong men of color. You know, I come from kings, period. You know, I mean, literally, kings, you know. I've done my genealogy. The thing is that regardless of where you come from, if you come from the bottom of the barrel in the inner city, there is no excuse for you to achieve. You know?
Talk about it.
We are smarter than the average because we have to fend for our lives every single day. And yes, I was shot at, I was stabbed, I went through all of that stuff in the hood.
Indeed.
But what kept me focused was the fact that I wanted more. I wanted to get out. I didn't have a silver spoon, you know. I wasn't born rather with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I did have a family unit that said, you know what? If you're gonna really get into this and you want to make money, you know, doing it, then study your beep off, and that's basically it. You know, don't stop wearing your pants underneath your butt. You didn't just come home from jail.
Thank you.
Pull your pants up.
Oh my God!
Because you're not gonna, you know, you don't have to wear a suit like I am, because it took a while for me to get to this particular point. Divine knows I was rough, but the point is, at the end of the day, I still stuck to my guns, and I don't mean physical guns. I'm talking about guns in terms of my focus. You know, with a direct line of sight to shoot at whatever I wanted to get to, and the goal was to be right here, to talk about my challenges and my history, to share with you guys on this particular Just Talk. Big shout out to the Just Talk family. Just Talk show, and give my family, because these are my family, these are my reflection, the first interview ever.
We thank you for that,
Thank you for the opportunity.
So, thank you very much.
When the launching of Ovnio, we're going to make sure the Ovnio launch happens here. We're going to show you how to log in and everything. As you see in the back, we want everybody to log into Ovnio, add it to your browsers today, and you know, research it and tell your friends about it. As you've seen the interview today, we brought to you from Just Talk, Kev Lawrence, the beautiful Gabriella, Nicole, DaGod Divine. This is what we support, man.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, of course. You can say a minute.
One last thing. I apologize. You know I'm black, right? You know I got the thing, right?
That's right.
But this is the most important thing out of everything. Is I want to give a shout out to the black men in my family. Because I have strong black men in my family, and I want to give a specific and the most highest shout out, you know, and love to my father, Michael Austin Swanston Sr., who never gave up on me. You know, he's from the hood. You know, he did what he had to do to survive, because it was a different period of time in the 70s. But he took all of his ingenuity and his money, and he put it into me, my creativity. And he is my business partner now, guys. So if you guys want to buy stock in Ovnio, you know, I'm not untouchable like Mark Zuckerberg over there at Facebook. You know,
you can't buy stock there.
You can't buy stock there, but
you can with Ovnio.
Yes, we're
Ovnio.
The thing is that I wanted to open up that particular opportunity for people that like Ovnio to buy stock in Ovnio, and that's one thing my dad instilled in me, to basically allow us from the inner cities around the country to be a part of something new and something special. You know, I'm not far removed. You can touch me, you can feel me. A lot of brothers say to me, they say, well, Jay, you know, you've been around, you know, all these Puff, Jay, Kanye, Cam, all those guys, you know, working in the music industry. You've been around everybody in the film. Why do you still come around the hood? Why do you still have a crib somewhere in the hood? I said, because, you know what?
That's where you came from.
That's where I came from.
That's right.
You know,
and he didn't forget that.
And I, you know, not to say, you know, it's a good or a bad thing. I feel comfortable coming back to Harlem. You know. But I feel comfortable walking through Brooklyn and Queens.
That's right.
All throughout New York City. I live in Staten Island also. But the point is that I stay there and I try to walk through the streets because I want to tell other people, especially that look like they don't have anywhere to go, that reflect me, and say, you know what? You know, I am a walking testimony that you can't get out. No, I wasn't gang banging. You know, I was surviving in the hood. You know, I know what it's like to fight and put my hands up, but I do have a level of intelligence that I wanted to nurture, and I want everybody who's watching my story to be inspired to go and go and go and go and go.
Go after what you believe in. You can do it. He's living proof. Don't make any excuses.
I don't want to cut you short.
No, please cut it short, because we black. We'll keep it going. God bless.
I want to say thank you. You know, I don't need that.
Okay.
But you know, I'll have you come back when it's time to launch. You know, when the day. So I want you to come back and share some more with us.
All right.
But I want to say thank you again for coming on.
Thank you you very much, my brother. I reflect you. Thank you.
My special guest host over here.
Thank you for having me.
So, this is Just Talk. You'll find out more information about Ovnio on the end of the show at the credits. And I want to say thank you. This is Just Talk, and we out. Peace.
Just Talk.
Hey everyone, this is JasonSwanston from OvnioTV, and you're watching Just Talk.
Hello, welcome to Just Talk. I'm your host, Kev Lawrence, and I'm in a building with the beautiful district leader, Miss Renee Collymore.
Hey,
hello, Miss Renee.
Hey,
how
Kev,
are you?
how are you? I'm doing well.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course, of course. Today I'm going to interview, and we're going to talk a little about your campaign. She's already district leader. You're going to tell them what district you're in?
Yes.
I know it, but I want you to tell them.
Well, my name is Renee Collymore, and I am the elected official representing the 57th Assembly District, which is Fort Greene, Clinton Hill, Prospect Heights, Summer Crown Heights, Summer Bed-Stuy, and a little bit of Park Slope.
Yes. Okay. So you're already in office, and you're running for re-election.
Yes, I am.
Yes. So make sure y'all vote for her if y'all live in those areas. She is a wonderful lady. Of course, I'll be voting for her. Anybody that she works with, like Hakeem, shout out to him, Jeffries, and Walter Mosley, shout out to him. So anybody that's in that cluster, you know, support them. And I'm not going to forget Miss Lori Cumbo, who's the city council for that district also.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go a little back a little bit. What made you get into politics?
Well, you know, Kevin, I first got into politics starting off with serving on the board of the 88th Precinct Community Council in my neighborhood. Yes. But more so because I'm a small business owner. My family, we have a string of small businesses ever since I was about 2 years old. Okay. And I always noticed that small businesses never really received the help and assistance that we needed.
Correct.
And my family, I remember many mornings, every morning, my dad getting up, brewing the coffee about 3 o'clock in the morning, getting to the stores at 5, we coming, getting home about 10:30, 11 p.m. And sitting around the table late at night, wondering how we're going to pay this tax bill and how we're going to pay this water bill. So certainly, I became very interested in knowing how the system works, and as we are supplying a need to the community, how come we're not getting any assistance from the government to help our journey along a little easier so that we can help the people who patronize us? Okay. My mom and dad would send me to all of the community meetings to bring back information. I, much younger, and my mom and dad began to age a little, so and they had to stay in the store, so they would send me. Yes. I began going to our community boards and going to all of the meetings in the neighborhoods to learn a little more, and I began to see the injustices and the inequalities that plague our folks in our local areas, and how we were not able to receive any sort of grants. We don't need loans. Small businesses, and particularly minority businesses, we do not need loans. We need grants, something to help us that we don't have to pay back. You have to pay back already so many things. Yes. So as this country is built on small business, we should be able to at least benefit from some of the assistance coming down the pipeline. Yes. So that's why I began to run for office. But also, I would like to say that, when it really got into high gear was when I was trying to reach one of our elected officials, and I couldn't get through. And, I wasn't getting responded to. No one was, calling me back. And I said, you don't want to call me back? I'm running for office. I'm running for office. I don't have to take this. My family, we're business owners. We pay taxes, and we pay a hefty tax. And if I need some assistance and I call you and you don't call me back, I am getting my palm cards. I'm getting my banner up on my house. I'm getting everything that I need to get so that you will respect me. Yes. So because my voice represents not just one voice, my voice represents my neighbors and my local business owners, my church. So if you don't want to call me back, I think I'll show you a little something.
Well, I'm happy that you're running again. I got a few offers for me to run against you, but I'm like, I'm not ready for that. Like, I want people that has the experience to do it. And I'm like, I'm going to support the people that's already been doing it. And I want to say thank you for showing Lafayette Gardens who you are and what you could do for us, you know. And I just want to, you know, what do you have in store for the youth of the community?
Oh, we need after-school programs for our young folks. You know, in the society that we live in today, we have a lot of broken homes, a lot of brokenness. And the only way that we can come back together is that our family circle has to be one. Our standards now have been dropped. Many folks, we don't have any standards, and now we make excuses for the things that we want to do. So inside of us, each person knows right from wrong. And it's so important that we continue to listen to that voice, and you got to be careful which voice you're listening to. But we understand right from wrong. We understand what we should do and what we should not do. And we don't need legislation to be changed in order for that to happen. Everyone must take responsibility for their own selves and their own lives. So I think that our youth, we need mentoring for our children. Our youth, we need schools to be open a little later for what they used to have when I was growing up, tutoring and things like that. You know, because also that helps with single parents. The single women who may not have a good babysitter and they're looking to work a little late and they know where their child is if they're in the after-school program at the school. You know, so it's like a cycle. One area can help the other. Our children, we need examples to look to. So that means that people like you and I have to be their examples. And we cannot be in the streets running amok, doing things that we should not do because people are looking at us. It used to be a time where people, you know, people are grown. People do what they want to do, you know, but there used to be a time where people would hide their indiscretions. And because someone is looking at you. Today, no one wants to hide their indiscretion. They're just walking out in the street like everything is okay, but it's not okay because our children are at stake. So if you want to do what you want to do, that's on you. You have a God to answer to. But live your life according to that our children need examples. So we, you know, this is one of the things that's very so important. Our children, I have a civics course. It's called the Fundamentals of Citizenship, where I go into the public schools in our district, and I have gone outside of our district as well. But it's predominantly set up for our district, where I teach them about volunteerism, volunteering their time, serving on jury duty and why that's important, how to be a leader and not a follower, and lobbying, what that means. And I then take them up to Albany to lobby their legislators according to something that we voted on in class. So, you know, many children are not aware of their electeds. They're not aware. When I was in school, you know, Kevin, we used to have current events. You know, we used to have current events. And we used to have to come to school to talk about, you know, what went on in the news. Cut out a news story and expound on the news story. Today, I don't see that. So our children have no sense of or urgency to help with this epidemic happening in our community concerning even their own schoolmates. So they have not a care in the world. They have not a care about anything happening here and or abroad.
That's correct. Well, seniors, you know, I take care of my grandmother, who is 77 years old, and I just noticed that I saw a flyer about game night at Lafayette Gardens coming back. So, you know, I have a lot of seniors. I'm going to knock on the doors and tell them to come out. You know, what do you have in store for the seniors if you're reelected again?
Well, certainly we must fight to preserve our seniors. My mom is a senior, you know. My father, before he passed, he was a senior. So it's imperative that that generation is preserved and helped along as long as we can do that for them. They have put in their time. They worked hard so that we can be here.
Yes.
If it wasn't for my mom and my dad, I would not be sitting here today. I can assure you. I did not do this on my own. By the grace of God and my parents, this is the only reason I'm here. And people saw in me something that they can identify, and they voted for me. So that's why I was elected. But we have such a tragic goings on in our city.
Yes.
They're closing our senior centers. It's something that provides them wellness and health, liveliness, enjoyment, and many of our seniors are being stripped of that. There is a senior center over in Crown Heights called Ebbets Field Senior Center, and these women and men who convene, I believe it's 3 times a week, they have no source of funding. They come together, in the community room of 1700 Bedford Avenue, and they use their own monies, their own resources to buy board games, to buy food, because you know some seniors like to cook, and they like to cook, and they buy their own cooking grease and their own seasonings, and they showed me their pantry where they have all their seasonings lined up, and it's very expensive for them. So I really, really, really have a heart, and I feel heavy because they're not getting this assistance that they need. We have to make sure that we supply folks with the correct information so that they can receive what they need to receive. Ebbets Field is a huge voting block. And ever since I could remember going there, beginning with my old district leader, Mr. Bill Saunders, I remember them having the same problems year after year after year. Now, I don't know if anyone speaks about it, but I have to speak about it because I look at those seniors and they remind me of my mother, like loving to cook, you know, sitting me down here when he's a fish sandwich, you know, and we have so many great people over there, like Miss Dolly Campbell, you know, we have Miss Rosalind Johnson and all of those hardcore soldiers who have been there for many, many years. So we must fight to save and do everything that we can to make sure that they understand that we appreciate the work that they've done for us. So I'm fighting for them. I'm fighting for a 966 Fulton Street, you know, the Grace Agard Senior Center, right back in Clinton Hill. You know, it's slated that they will be closing down as well, and they are the main hub for our senior centers. So we got word of that, and I said, Lord have mercy. You know, we have to do something to provide somewhere for them to go so that we may try to keep them here as long as possible.
Okay. So, anything you might, you know, be like promoting to kind of keep these spaces open, just let me know. I have a couple of, I'm part of a social club, and I deal with a lot of other clubs that we come out and we do community service. And we can come out and we can, you know, help you try to get some type of something, you know, to help these seniors.
Wonderful.
You know, so I just make one phone call. That phone call goes to millions of people that I deal with, you know. So that's something we can work on, you know, once. We already know that you're going to get in office already.
Thank you.
Shout out to her competitor, Miss Ola, you know. We'll talk about that at a later tape. But, so, but I want to say thank you for coming, you know. Do you want to say hello to everybody? Oh, before we do that, you see that camera right there?
Yes.
Tell them what day to go vote and, you know, who to vote for.
Tuesday, September 9th, 2014. I need everybody to go to your polling site and vote for me. I am Renee Collymore, and I'm running for re-election because I care. I care about this community because I live here, born and raised. I want you to make sure that when you get up in the morning, you make it your business to go to the polls. This is slated to be a low turnout, and that's very dangerous. I've been elected now for 1.5 years. This is my first term and my first re-election. I'm looking forward to you helping me get back into office so that we can do all the things that we need to do for the city and the state of New York. Thank you, everybody. I'm Renee Collymore.
Okay. Thank you again. I'll be out voting. And if you need me, you know you have my number. Just call me.
Thank
all
you.
Right? Thank you again. This is Just Talk, and I'm your host, Kev Lawrence, and we'll see you again.
Hey, it's Imani, and you're watching Just Talk.
This is DJ One, baby. You are watching Just Talk. Peace.
Ron County, you watching Just Talk. Cash in the building, homie right here, you know what I mean? Just let it know, you know what I mean? LG Brooklyn, you know what we're doing, they can't bring it back. So it's only right for us to do what we gotta do as artists. You know what I mean? Like, he's a guy right here, Cash, you know what I mean? Just Talk. Fish you do, holla at me.
Yo, what's good, y'all? This is Kev DaGod from Just Talk. I'm out here LG Day with Ulysses Hamilton and Archie. Yo, these are the cats that run We Care for Our Community. So, how long y'all been doing this?
Well, this event that we've been doing well over 20 years.
Okay.
What we did was we changed it from a memorial.
Okay.
It first started as an old timers game.
Yeah.
So we changed it into a memorial. So now we made it more community based. So now it's Family Community Day.
That's what's up.
We formed this organization over 5 years now. Yeah. Right. We're formally formed from residents from Lafayette Gardens. Okay. So I formed a group of guys and girls that we all came from this project, and now we form an organization just to get back to the community.
Yeah.
As you see, this is something we do. We cook. Do stuff for the kids. We have cotton candy. We have free basketball tournament, and it's just something that we're doing just to give back. Yeah. You know, being we all came from here, you know, just bring everybody together one day and just show unity and love.
And this is a group of us who decided to take it on ourselves. We come out our own pockets. You know, we don't ask for nothing. All we just do is just say, come on out and enjoy yourself. Everybody get together, showing love for one another. People come in from all over, didn't see each other for a long time. They come over and they enjoy themselves. I just see one of my buddies here that I ain't seen 30 years. 30 years, but he still look the same. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And we just come out here and this is what we do. A good day. The police is involved. They can have water or whatever they want. And everybody just come by and have a good time no matter what. Communities. Doesn't mean just this community, but communities all over. Right. All over.
Well,
this is the founder right here though. He's the founder. His great mind came together, we all supported him, and we just got together for it. That's it. Ulysses Hamilton.
But what I do with Just Talk is, you know, I promote people, black people in the community, you know, who has something positive going on in the community, and that's why I wanted to interview y'all. Right. You know, regardless of me being a little guy running around LG, if y'all remember that. Right. But this is what, you know, I got to support people that's doing something for the community. Right. I want to thank y'all for, you know, for doing this. Right. You know? All right. So, this is Just Talk. Kev DaGod. We'll see you soon. Peace.
All right.
All right.